Welcome back to the FACEIT Global Summit, and I am in the Crystal Luster pod, and I'm joined by a ferocious fragger by the name of Weisu. Is that right?
Weisu.
Thank you so much, Shisho, because I know that the casters have been doing their best, but we're not always the best at saying names from different regions, so thank you, Weisu. I would like to ask you about when you decided to get aggressive as a team, because it felt like on day one you were fairly passive in your approach to the maps.
就是他刚开始先说一下你的名字，其实不是很好念，这个就 pass 掉了。然后其实针对你之前的打法，就是咱们在第一天的时候，相对打法是比较保守的。然后今天突然转换了一个画风，就比较的一个进攻性的。就是对于这个转变，你是怎么想的呢？
因为我们昨天打法出了问题，所以说昨天晚上回去我们开会，然后说今天改变一下打法，打自信一点，所以说今天就这么打了。
Because at the first day they think they are not that aggressive. There's something wrong with their style, so they took a meeting the last day and they decided to be more confident. So they have those kind of aggressive style today.
And how do you call the strats in your team? Is there a leader, or do you all decide?
就是你在你们团队当中的一个就是角色是怎么样的？就是你在比如说做决定的时候，是你一个人就下决定了，还是说就是听大家的意见然后再下决定呢？
听大家的意见吧，大家一起收集信息，然后做决定。
Like other teammates will collect the information about this game and then he will make that decision.
Rachel, you were fantastic on that last map. There was a whopping 15 kills across the map. You got at least 6 of them. So I'm wondering, what was said in that meeting to find this new success you're finding?
就是我是上一局打的可是相当的漂亮，然后就是击杀也非常的多，然后在这样的一个状况下，你是怎么打的这么厉害的？就是作何感想呢？
就打出自信了嘛，然后就见人就想上去打。
Because he became much more confident, so when he meet people, he would go red upon.
And are you feeling confident going to the last 2 rounds of the day? The last round, in fact, sorry.
对于上一局整一局的比赛，然后你觉得怎么看呢？
上局有点可惜吧，本来能拿第2的，然后拿了个第3。
As for the last game, he think he could do better. Like he could do as the second.
I'm really excited. I'm going to keep my eyes on you, Rachel. Thank you so much, Shishay. Thank you for talking to me. And I want to say a thank you to HyperX. They're the makers of the Predator DDR4 RAM that all our players are using. It's high-performance memory that gives the players the extra impact they need to frag out on our 2 maps here at the FACEIT Global Summit. But for now, we should head back to the desk because we've got to get into the final map of the day.
Welcome back indeed to the analysis desk here. Actually, 2 more games to go, but we'll,
it's like a bonus.
It's a bonus. It's a bonus round. Bonus round.
I declare bonus round.
There you go. Well, Toffees has done it. 2 more gentlemen here up to the top. Toffees as well as Avenger. Boys, we saw obviously Crystal Luster perform extremely well in the last game. Do you have anything that you want to take away from that interview or take away from the previous game when it comes to Crystal Luster?
Well, I vouched for I wanted to put on Long for today for the 5 guys to watch, and he actually pulled off a really great showing here. I think he ended up with 3 or 4 kills, so that's very great. But them overall getting that many kills, putting themselves into the position they had, and of course they dropped in that area, but they actually moved around quite a bit. They were kind of on the west side of prison to begin with, then they moved into the yellow houses, and then they kind of swung up around and sweep the area and coming onto the hill there. So I really like their positioning and their movement in the later stages of the game.
I mean, they started okay on the first day that they played, and then they sort of fell off. And honestly, their play over the last couple of games for me has been very lackluster. But this time, 3rd place, 15 kills. We thought they were going to join the 16K club, but I want to stress, getting that many kills and ending in 3rd place is insanely good. Like, that is phenomenal play by Crystal Luster. They can be happy with that, because if they had won that, it probably would have come out to almost a 20K game or something close to. So that gives them a lot of encouragement going forward and raises them, I think, pretty high into the middle of the pack.
I'm going to present a theory, or even just a question in general here to you guys.
Present a theory.
Present a theory, anyway, regardless.
Yes.
Coming into today, And then after what we saw from our 2 games just now, coming into today, did you think that Incognito would have rocketed kind of from their previous position to where they are right now after the last 2 games?
No,
I don't know what they've been eating yesterday, but it's been something kind of explosive, I think.
Something with spice.
They went home, they threw
Spicy,
some shrimp on the Barbie, they came back hot and ready to play. I mean, I thought we were going to be coming in and sort of jokingly saying Aussie, 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 oof, 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 because yes, it was such a bad first round.
Yeah.
That said, though, I don't know if maybe they took the fact that everybody was hard on them and let it encourage them, but they came back blazing, 14 kills. With that many kills, you can't sit there and say, well, they got the circles, because they put in the work as well. If you get the win and with 5 kills or 6 kills, sure, maybe you can take that away from someone. But 14 kills and the push across the road out of red houses is not an easy feat to accomplish. So they played that very, very well.
It's going to put them into the mid-pack going into the sudden death. I don't think we're going to see 2 more games like this from them in a row. I doubt it. It's going to be very rough for them. It's going to be everything has to kind of play out for them. But this will continue them to put them into a very strong position in the mid-pack, maybe even the top pack if they continue getting free frags.
I'll say this. I don't think they can do it again today in the next 2 games, but if they do get another win, I will be so joyous that even my germophobic self will join them in a shoey later tonight, and I'll let them broadcast it wherever they want. But I mean, at the end of the day, that is a very tall order, and if they accomplish it, it's great news for the region, it's great news for the boys, and it's great news for all of us. Maybe not me now that I have to drink out of a shoe.
Yeah, maybe. I would love to see them prove you guys wrong, and I think you would love to see them kind of prove
now that I said
sentiment.
that,
Oh, okay, fair play then. All right, final thoughts before we head into our second to last game of the day, of the group stage, in fact.
Well, I'm still curious about what's going to happen in Pochinki. I think everyone out there watching is, but let's see how it's going to turn out for both of these teams.
I mean, I think this is what we need to see, is the teams that were struggling on the bottom continue playing crazy aggressive and capitalize on the fact that a lot of the top teams are caught in weird, strange fights for territory rights and use that to get themselves some winner points.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Everybody out there, it is time to pay attention because we're getting into game number 17 here. It's our 5th game of day 3 of the group stage here for the FACEIT Global Summit. Pansy and Sims, give me the spice.
Honestly, I'd like some. Beyond that Pochinki fight at the start, I'm going to be honest with you, Rich. I didn't feel the fire coming from some of these teams here. I think they played it safe. It felt a little bit like they were sinking back into playing your standard air and goal. I want difference here. I want people to be smart. I want to see new choices being made. That Cloud9 Liquid fight, look, I'm all about Twitter banter. I think it's great. I think it's very funny. Give us some personalities in video games. Big fan. But when you go there and you're still making these kind of just headstrong decisions over and over and over, and they're benefiting neither of you, and Liquid already safe, I want to see other teams finding new ways, being creative, and being just assertive in decision-making.
The only thing that it hurts is C9's chances of going straight to the grand finals. It's as simple as that. Let's take a look how we stand at the moment on the global scores. Okay, so STK and NIP, 99 points. They're up there with the best of them. It's, as far as I'm concerned, them, Afrika and Liquid, all 90 points, 97 and 90 respectively.
That's a nice
That for
chunk.
me is job done. All right, no 2 games going to get you up there. 4 AM, Armory Gaming, 89, 77. That's your 5th and 6th place. Remember, we only have 8 places available that go directly, straight away to the grand finals. For people that are in Group B, Envy, for instance, you know that you're locked, you're done, there's nothing you can do about it, you're not going up there. The teams that can, though, look at this. Tempo Storm, VSG, Cloud9, 8, 9, 12. Even, to be fair, Crystal Luster and Entus Force. A couple of good games under the belt, and we've pretty much got a game on here. This is going to be a match. Really, I mean, it does take a bit of explosive action. You have to get stuck in there, you have to get a fair amount of kills if you want to jump them. Tempo Storm could now think, okay, we are in 8th, we're happy, we're sitting comfortably, let's go passive. That doesn't always work in PUBG.
No,
you can
we've
get
seen
rolled up on
teams losing out with like
crashed.
1 point or just dropping that ball at that final hurdle.
But they could say, okay, heads on a swivel, let's play defensive. Rather than going passive, let's go heavy defensive, get centered up.
Good placement.
Exactly. There is options for them. So other teams that want to jump up there, there's nothing to lose now. These guys are not going home today. They will go to elimination tomorrow if they don't make it to the grand finals. Get stuck in and get some points. Go hunting. Have a bit of fun.
That's what I want to see, and it's almost time to go. Rich, we get a glimpse at the playing path. It is going to be a little tricky for some teams, but most will be able to find their place from what we've seen thus far, at least. And we know the ones who play the extremities will have their backup drops. Who are you watching specifically in this game? Obviously, that early game, it's hard to look away from Pachinki. I know everyone's eyes are going to be drawn to it. I know two big names, and a lot of the fans out there want to see their favorite players, but there are other teams here.
For me, it's Tempo Storm and BSG. They're currently in 8th and 9th place, respectively. And again, that's a battle for the red deadline. You cross that 8th mark, you're up there, you're in finals, you're playing Saturday and Sunday, you can go home tomorrow and you can chill. You can watch all this action unfold. If not, then it's just one of those things you've got to play again tomorrow. Okay, for some teams, it's like, it's fine. It's just a warm-up to the finals. It's just a really good scrim for the grand finals. We're not bothered about that. But it's a safety net, right?
It is. It's a lovely safety net, isn't it? Blimmin' hell. Let's have a look across the board. Any fun drops coming in, any initial issues? Again, some teams may look closer to each other because they're going to have to find cars, maybe head north if they need it. You might see teams looking for options. At the moment, nothing wild happening.
I think the wild thing is the playing path.
Yeah, it's just very
we can't really, you know, the entirety of the north, my hometown, is just been excluded from pretty much all of this. All right, you can get vehicles, you can head up there if you really want to, but it takes time, it takes away
it's time you're losing out
to
on.
loot, time to get gear. The circle, however, it's favourable to that playing path. For someone like C9 now, you can say, okay, we can get heavy geared here. We still have to be careful because Liquid's already got a drop on us and they're going to be laughing, they're going to feel confident. They might just go and just kick a man while they're down, so to speak, and really put the nail in the coffin and slam it shut, because that would give options for Tempo Storm, VSG to jump further ahead of them. James already getting a little bit aggressive here. Has to be careful because there will be an eye line from that top window should Profi have any kind of range. Creeping, peeping. Remember, for Liquid, this is just about raising their chest, spreading their wings and showing everybody they're here to play. This is their home turf. So they don't need the points, C9 do.
I'm wondering how much research Liquid have done into this, or how much they know of Cloud9's loot routes. It looks like James knows ahead. Oh,
what?
He doesn't know enough. He just got absolutely turned on by K-Mind, and the theory was right for James, but the execution was certainly wrong, and he suffers heavily. He's lost his life for that.
That's a little bit of...
Watch it again.
Oh, look at that. Swing and dead. 101, so that means he wasn't wearing a helmet there,
unfortunately. Just like, look how... was that a one-shot?
It literally, because he's got no armor on it.
Yeah, it was just like a one-shot to the head.
He's dead. I mean, it's a ballsy maneuver to go after somebody with no armor,
the
right?
one going in there as well. Yeah. You just bang that one headshot. Oof.
But they did get the first knock in the previous round, and we know how that went down.
Yeah.
It didn't pan out. Interesting one. We will touch on it now, and I'm glad the observers have actually alluded to it. STK, complete polar opposite end of where they usually loot. They're up in the north. They like to chill. They like to kick it. Now we see them in a split. So we got two on Sosnovka Island, or we got two on the opposing side. We will see them around Ferry Pier and up towards Longwoods. It's a nice area. They don't have to do too much of a maneuver. The fact that they have gone for the 2-2 split gives them options to cross this bridge uncontested. This is usually the biggest and most riskiest play, is that if you send a whole team over there, someone sets up on the end of it, you do it in Publix, you've all done it, we've all done it. If you haven't, go and have some fun and enjoy it. And trust me, it's nothing more rewarding than just completely clattering a car as it comes across with 4 players in it, like, I am that person who pitches a tent and just sits and waits for you at the end. OMG, there may be their next obstacle should they decide to roll up at the end. There is a nice barn area and a compound they could take residency in. Hardest rotations, potentially. Crystal Luster. They've got Aero Wolf directly in front of them all the way on the east coast. Enters Force. If you are from Europe, more than likely you will recognize that's the area where FaZe likes to loot through. And it's kind of like PEL. See the Blue Bees moving across. This is the TSM and G2's area. Maybe we see them just head straight west and clash head-to-head. But generally speaking, the people who are safe, VSG will have plenty of gear. They'll have been straight out of the plane into Prim. That'll be their backup drop. NIP are home, however, a little bit late, but it doesn't matter because they're uncontested. Tempo Storm, though, home turf, Lauren. They've got a fair amount of work to do. They are in the top 8 at the moment, but it's theirs to lose.
Yeah, we also said that defensive play would be nice to see. Not necessarily passive, but defensive. The circle, perfectly allows for that. That is something that you're completely and utterly happy with. If you're them, you don't have to run risks to play that style that would certainly suit it, whereas other teams will have to push potentially into this if they need to start pushing towards that top 8 if it's a viable option. Speaking of that, Cloud9 aren't completely far away from that position, but they're going to need some big games, some heavy impact to come through. And as of now, Team Liquid still looking scary. There's always threats, there's no way around it. But this looks somewhat similar to what we saw before. If you look at the way it's almost panning out, it's not necessarily picture perfect, but it's not far from it.
It's how, for me, C9 lock them in. They hold that off angle just on the northern side of Pachinki, which really disallows any point of maneuverability to get behind C9. It always feels like C9 have the main driving seat, and that's a double tap straight to the brain. Nerf gets completely deleted. Ibi snaps to him and, oh well, misses the grenade, but that doesn't matter because now he's put himself in a position where maybe Team Liquid makes some sort of an advancement on that, or they wait for C9 to make the first mistake.
I don't know what to say about that shot. That was so good. And this is, I think, repetition again from Cloud9, the way they approached. We saw Nerf on a similar position. This time did go through the buildings rather than the trenches, but it looks like Team Liquid are responding. As soon as they've got this, it looks like they like to be proactive, and I'm not upset about that at all, but they're not alone. I'm seeing people in the hills behind them. They're probably hearing this. I don't see Incognito joining in, but they're certainly watching it happen.
Well, you talk about homework, you're going to know these teams are fighting out. You've seen it on Twitter, you've seen the beef, you've seen the banter. They know about this, so it's like, well, tell you what, boys, we've got to win. Let's go set up and clean up the remnants, whoever's in here, because for them, it's not only is it a placement jump, a couple of points in the barrel.
It would be nice.
They've got to be careful, though. I can see them on the map. They're overextending a bit too far. They're in a very deep split here, and I think they're going to rock up on OMG if they're not careful.
That's a scary area to go towards. A lot of teams already trying to condense towards the middle of the circle, and Ibi's already proven what he can do with the SKS. Let's see what he's got with the 8K. As Profi started to work his way forward, Nerf is bleeding out. I don't see the revive coming in at all. K-Mine's going on the deep flank as well. There's the confirmation on the kill. Ibi's going to get that, and now needs to be very careful. The nade wasn't far. You could see that one going off. And I'm wondering if Ibi's starting to read that there could be a flank coming in. This is a really nice mental picture he's painting of Pachinki, but again, these teams are consistently doing this, and it's going to just start working them down and down and down, but Liquid are loving it.
It was a good effort, just sends the mortar shell up and over, which forces Ibi back. The interesting one, which we kind of caught a glimpse of, was Lobes just lingering in the distance. He was looking for a line of sight. Profi caught off guard, running through the field. Samu, now remember, he took this huge rotation, Lauren. He's come from the polar opposite of Pachinki and worked pretty much a 360-degree circle all the way around him. And all of a sudden, C9, they're boxed in again.
Samty, I love that play as well as an individual, just resetting on the spray, so he came back in with the complete reset on the recoil of his gun in comparison to the other. Just so nice. It's small nuances and what they normally do in their minds. It's probably not even something they consciously think about, but it's just really nice to watch.
Did you see the stats that I posted on Twitter about him?
No, I've muted you.
No, well, that's fine. The kid has been to 12 LAN events in PUBG, and his lowest spot, and that was only once, is top 8. He has been in the top 5 11 times. He is a freak of an individual when it comes to PUBG. I mean, he used to play for a North American roster, funnily enough, in Tempo Storm back at IEM. But, like, he's just so good. The 3 versus 1s that we've seen from him, time and time again, just laying down the hammer. And such a really credible, unique individual for Liquid. What a massive amount of firepower. You put him together with Jempty, the brothers in arms. I mean, that's why they're here, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's any interesting rotations to begin with. I'm sure D-Man and Scoom out back are keeping tabs on it. This is probably the one where they'll start to really pay attention. This is where the teams are going to be put through their pace if there's anything that stands out. For now, what catches your eye here? Obviously, there's still a lot of teams kind of on the edge here looking for a way in safely, but you can't guarantee safety at this point now.
For me, it's that Gatka. It's a very, the Gatka mashup. You have Windstrike just readjusting ever so slightly to the bottom of the chopsticks. Tempo Storm will set up across the road, see if they can catch any people on rotation. Looks like they've got range as well. I'm seeing 6 times in DMRs across the board. Entus are pinned in by Bluebees. The Rangers have made it across happily. VSG need to be careful, though. They're going to be a lot later this circle than probably what they anticipated. It has shifted hard away from them. Obviously, they started down in Prim. But they're going to have STK, Windstrike, and maybe Rangers if they creep further up north. I'm interested to see where NIP comes in, because we also have Aerowolf 7 on the same kind of rotation.
And the perpetual battle continues in Pachinki. Just never going to end, is it?
No.
No. That southwest side is looking more and more busy. There's that like nice little hillside, I guess, you can play off with the kind of smaller compounds. There's so much cover in the terrain and the topography of the specific area there. You can get a lot of teams in it. Obviously, they'll want a lot of ground, though. They don't want to just sit there and have a small piece of the pie. They want a good cut of it. But a lot of teams vying for it. SDK are currently in a very, very nice position. OMG can fight out of the compound, but OMG have safety in the fact that they can get revives. VSG could potentially pinch in STK. But beyond that, everyone so far, excluding the forever battle of Cloud9 Liquid, are okay. No one's crashing compounds. No one's going in hap-handedly. There's still enough available on the map. We won't see that yet.
No one's opting to go through ruins. It's really rough terrain to traverse across, and it also puts you in a bit of a disadvantage if you need to get out of it, because you have that lip that surrounds it. Further afield to Sunken City and all those areas, it's not great terrain. It's all the way up in the north, so kind of that whole quadrant of this circle's cut out generally. Okay, you've got Aerowolf 7 who are lingering on the edge. They don't want to go too deep into it because like getting cars and so on and so forth. Aerowolf 1 have set up in the yellows just ahead of them. Crystal Luster looking to find themselves a place to set up shop, but I think NIP might have the advantage here in the fact that they hold the higher ground. They'll also have some cover should they need it. The question is, really, where does AHQ go? Do they go for the yellows in front of them, or do they go further afield? I'm not a big fan of this area at the moment. Excuse me, so it's Crystal Luster who do have the main compound there, but indeed NIP do have the high ground, so they can hold them back. The Wanderers are in trouble more than anyone. Unless they get the hard shift, it's Aerowolf 7. We're kind of just waiting out. It's one of those circles.
There's so much still available.
Yeah.
Because we've seen a lot of cycles have been divided by water, a lot of awkward open ground that simply doesn't house teams very well. This actually still has a great deal available to a lot of teams that don't have to risk anything just yet. Hence why we're seeing 16 teams, 61 players at this marker, where we've seen a lot of teams losing out early because of potential early fights or simply inaccessible areas. I guess, especially on Erangel, we've been seeing that so much. But this is still going to be one of those late games, and we'll see what shifts up. Again, centralizing to a nicer degree. That northern battle could be an issue now, because that big open field north of Tempo Storm is not pretty to play out of. They're going to probably look to go beyond that. And a lot of the teams are just kind of shuffling here. You're seeing them slowly but surely trying to find that next ideal place. And speaking of inaccessible areas, that southern field, not great. The northern fields, not great either. So now suddenly we're going to see a bit of a tempo change in regard to what's available.
There'll be a hell of a lot of hard migrations here for the simple fact, and I love that you touched on it. If you look at Pachinki, Gatka, and then down the south by the barns, everything surrounding those is open terrain. It's just all field work. There's not many places to go. NIP get caught in the crossfire. RDK from one body to another. They'll get away with a life, but again, those vehicles will be tapped up. This is basically a dungeon gauntlet. Pull up somewhere, pull up shop, maybe take an enemy out behind you, but this is going to be a very, very difficult migration, especially if you want to try and get central. There is very, very little room to move.
Yeah, Sharky gonna exploit that already. AHQ looking for those moves anywhere they can. There was a couple of shots coming out from Tempo Storm early on. They're certainly not being shy or coy about showing their positioning. If anything, they seem to want a bit of the fight. NIP tried to adjust early on, and AHQ finding some more targets potentially to fight against. A winner on the losing end of this one, Nade's gonna come through as well. Those rocks might be the death of him. That nade just lands short, but there's so many kills. This is what happens. It's that powder keg waiting to explode, and suddenly all the teams are folding in that northern side. You said it, Rich. There ain't much available, and this is gonna be who comes out on top.
Poor NIP. They've got a tree and a car to work with and not much else. Incognito, they want to finish off the remnants of AHQ. The grenades are coming in. Raining down hell. SR loses life but gets stolen. Enters force, spot him, dead to rights, job done. Rangers now opening up, picking up a couple of points from Crystal Luster. And again, this northern side of the circle, it's extremely, extremely rough. NIP can hold people back. You'll be able to deny a lot of line of sight, okay? It's rough because of the trees. It's not a bad position, but it's certainly very open. If you don't have the smokes, you can lay on the back of the defilade, so Incognito won't have any line of sight should they decide to peek the head over. Liquid still chilling. They know they've got to deal with Lobes and K-Mind. AHQ, unfortunately, the grenade is done. They're out in 16th place.
It's a big loss. They kind of got caught in the middle of everything. It felt like they were taking shots everywhere, and then by the time they pulled up, you had 3-4 teams. Whichever way you cut it, I didn't see any safety in the position they went to, and I have a feeling you might see NIP in that position as well. Purely if that circle moves from the north towards the south slightly, NIP are going to be forced over into Incognito or to ENF. There's so many issues. You could literally go through every team and theorize where the next problem's going to come in. But the thing we haven't said is who's in a very good position so far. OMG in a very nice central spot here. Still everyone up, but they haven't been the OMG I'm expecting, so I don't want to start looking at them like they are the big team to look at, and a northeast shift here.
Ooh. Okay, okay. Well, let's discuss this then. So you come out of Pachinki. On the east side, you've got an open field. That's all dead area. You do have the bans, which you might see that back ban VSG could commit to. Jempty's already having a look. We can see it on the map. He's just eyeballing to see, okay, is anybody there? What can we do? A couple of shots are being sent across. You can see the trace of fire. So that'll be a warning and to VSG and just an alert that there are teams still kicking it in Pachinki. Enter's set up on the back of the church. So everyone in Pachinki now, for me, next circle is dead and done. You got Enter's on one side and VSG on another. Incognito, they're happy. They've got a good set of bans, a good amount of line of sight as well, should be any up beside the hill. But the Rangers, they're kind of kings of the mountain, Lauren.
They're okay so far. We saw them late game doing quite well in that battle over to the east in the last couple of games. The team I was expecting to have some issues. NIP got saved by that circle, forcing the team to the north further towards them, and Incognito can't join the fight because of that lip of the hill. Miraku going to completely flourish in this environment, as already a couple of players fall on the other side who are trying to work their way in. Sadly, the issues that could have happened to NIP seem to be going towards their shoulders, as that western approach is unavailable. You can't do it. The east will have ENF, but Windstrike having an issue there. Nuki finding Teme. That must have been some awkward crossfire, maybe someone walking in front of each other.
So the dinner bell has been rung. OMG have committed to this side of the compound.
being crashed.
It's a really strong comp. They're not quite being crashed unless someone
Where is STK?
They're literally outside. Unless they're sending the vehicles through. Here we go. Smokes are up. They hit the building, two of them. Lion KK is there for defensive side. We need to get back to that fight and have a look and see how it goes down. Nades over here. And again, there's just compound crashes all over the place. Aerowolf 7 being held dead to rights by Tempo. Oh, it's going to get busy. It's going to get busy.
It certainly is. This fight right now shouldn't be going too far because the player that was in the building is already dead. Now this is the one. Purdy Curdy, this guy loves aggression. It suits him. It cuts a good figure on him. Aerowolf have gone down. That's not surprising. The position they were currently stuck in was a far from good one. OMG are down to 3, losing it online. KK ain't so good. And Silent put down to a one-shot. Instant has to back away. I don't think they know how low they've taken them, but now they're not alone. OMG are now surrounded on both fronts. If you didn't see it before, you're going to see it now. Windstrike in the north closing in. OMG are in a very, very scary position, and I don't think they even really know it yet.
Purdy Curdy gets taken down through the window. Xiao Hai sees him. Job done. And Civil still keeping Clouds at bay. He can't really get out of it. It's like a purple death squad just walking in like, okay, there's two teams fighting here. Let's jump on in, boys, and join the fun.
Yeah, Tixu's just gone down, so they're going to see the kill feed that was not the players that they thought it was. Tixu's confirmed dead. OMG kind of holding on for now, but it can only hold on for so long. They can't deal with both fights, but Windstrike going to get into cover. They're going to be safe enough for now. They've taken down the player close enough by. Shoot to kill, still alive and kicking, showing Silent. Even though he got that heal back off, he is not in a good spot, and OMG are on the receiving end of all of this damage. Both teams folding in together. Shoot to kill had to move up. The blue was going to force them one way or another regardless, but OMG are down to so few players here. I don't know if Xiao Hai can really find any play to come out of it. Uncivil is right at the door and he wants to go in.
Yeah, it's still from the opposing side.
Through.
Literally.
Do it again. I bet you couldn't.
Go for a second one. God, they're right on the edge as well. What can you do after that?
Well, that's a nice circle to help them out.
It's not bad. They can hit. There's a tiny
They've got to get
shack
through the team, though.
It'll be interesting if someone makes an advancement on them and holds them. Tempo Storm, still central. Incognito, they're happy. Locked inside a bathroom. What?
Headshot peeking a window is a scary thing to do. It's not ideal, and you're going to be punished, and you're going to be punished hard. Purdy Curdy's just gone down. Oh, OMG, fighting their way out. Adam just got decimated, and Windstrike are probably kind of scratching their heads going, wait, what? What has just gone on? Shoot to kill have just been decimated by OMG. I don't know if Xiao Hai is going to live through this because there's other teams there. There's still Windstrike knocking on their door, but OMG should not have won that.
I know it was a 4 versus 2, but he just basically 4 versus 1. All 4 players gone.
Watch this again. I want to watch that slow down. I want to see this all day long.
We're keeping an eye on 2 different fights here. This is the Northern fight as well, going down. Replay in the corner, look at that. So
good. Adam's full HP.
I think as well that they're lacking armor. I don't know what he's going to be helped.
So good. All right, the fights are still going on. I'm pretty sure the OMG did just get wiped, if I'm not mistaken. Winstrike have cleaned that out. Yeah, Jorski's still there. So they've been dealt with in the meantime, but as an individual, they're still a scary prospect. But the nade and everything else going on, it doesn't really matter. NIP are really clutching at straws, or what should I say is the remainder of NIP are clutching at straws here. That north side, Rich, it's about to explode. That northeast, okay, we saw NIP, but look at everyone else. Cloud9, Incognito, Team Liquid, everyone's about to come past here.
Bluebees get tanked up from behind as well, which is rather unfortunate. VSG have finally made a move off the compound that they held just behind the Bluebees. They've been spotted out. VAR doing what he can, finds one, looking for the snake in the grass to try and tap him up.
Only 30 bullets left.
2 players from C9, the Remnants, are also now getting in this. I mean, it's been a dumpster fire so far in this game for them, but they're firing and making best utility of it. Are they going to get a vehicle and get out of there, or are they going to use it for some sort of cover? Hit it against a wall and maybe do something. Vard, welcome to the party, my friend. Vehicle goes flying by. MBS has to deal with his final player. 6 kills, though. It's not bad. It's still decent points when they're up at the top of the board.
Yeah, and the player that just killed his teammate went down. So actually, MBS somehow hitting the deck here has really saved him. He should be in some sort of freedom, but Team Liquid still making it difficult for the North American side of Cloud9. Now there will be an answer. The Aussies are still holding the compound. We theorized when that circle eventually pushed people over that road, it was going to pay very nicely for Incognito, and it is. On the receiving end, the last remaining member, Lobes. You watch his whole team get completely sorted, and Samty's still up for this. Samty! He's seen him and he's done him. It's Team Liquid to confirm the end of Cloud9 again.
For the second time round, Jempty though. Now he has to deal with VSG. Hulk sees him. Bullet in the head from the Mini 14, job done. Winstrike now. They've been doing well so far, but it's going to be an uphill battle. The Bluebees are going to sniff them out. 1 player in the grass. Nuki does have some level of security from his teammate just behind him, Timmy. Timmy's already been knocked, remember, so the next one we'll call a difficult system here. Liquid went down in the kill feed. We copped for that one. Nuki and Jorski back-to-back confirmed. That'll put Winstrike down to 1 man. And all of a sudden, the Bluebees, they've got a bit of a sting here. Timmy, he's just going to run away and try and survive, but look at the collapse, Lauren.
It's not pretty. He's holding the ridgeline, but I don't know how long he can hold that one. There's fire coming in from almost over his shoulder. I think that's from Tempo Storm, is that? Towards the Bluebees?
That's distance. Yeah.
That's from far away.
The problem is for all those teams that have to come that way, it's a bit of a bottleneck. It will funnel them basically into 2 teams waiting in the middle, which will be Rangers and Tempo.
Actually, well, NBS still doing everything he can individually for his side, but let's look at who remains in the scarier positions. Tempo Storm still looking good. VSG have 4 players up. We're going to jump on board with just 1, but it's Hulk to kick things off on towards the Bluebees, who tried to find their way around, and the remaining Winstrike member might get away with murder here somehow. We're not sure how long he's going to last, because the trade just came back in.
I mean, he can play for placement and just let VSG and Bluebees essentially deal with one another. That's no problems for him. And the more people, the more teams that go out, the higher his placement. We're into the top 8 now. Hulk answers back.
That was a long old nade. Yeah, we've got 2 players
Such
remaining
a powerful
up
tool
for the Bluebees. They need to get aggressive or find a way out of here. So far, it's just they're shooting uphill. They have no big bits of cover to try and play off in towards VSG, and they both need to get in. But the one thing I will say about the Bluebees is they now hold the circle, but VSG have the numbers, and Hulk is proving to be a bit of an animal. This guy, he won't stop going, and now he confirms some more kills. This is nice points gathering for this man. Now looking for more. There's still at least 1 player up. KR10 has potentially 3-4 players very nearby. Does have some sort of, I guess, call to go into the circle, but I don't think he's going to find an avenue of approach here. All 3 players moving towards him. No hope in hell. The Bluebees are eliminated in 7th.
And you can have so much confidence. We can see from his POV, he's got a Wookiee suit on, so for him, going to be level 3 gear and happy days. He'll be able to take a bit of fire and a return response. They keep 4 alive as we go into this circle. The Rangers, they've set up shop in the middle. Where will it go? Tempo Storm does have an eye line on VSG, but again, so much cover to play for on the back of this hill. Incognito, they've been held here for quite some time. Now they might have to work for this win. If they want 2 in a row, They've got to go. Circle will force them out. They can go forward. They'll have a compound to play with at least, so it's something.
Yeah.
But VSG can stand the ground. Tempo Storm, your number 8. Now remember, this is what we said at the start. Rangers and Tempo Storm, they're the ones looking for the points here. This is quite a pivotal swing when we look towards the top 8.
Absolutely is. And the Rangers, I guess, in a more dangerous position in the fact that a lot of people will be looking central. Tempo Storm, we said that defensive, not passive play could play well, get them late game, and then pick up kills if you need to. Don't go overtly hunting for it at this point, as the risk may outweigh the value of picking it up. But if the Rangers start going off, you're going to have to answer that as well.
So teams will have to commit to a lot of utility here. You can already see that just the plume of smoke goes up in the air. How do you spot that? Just gun sticking out of the back. Goes for the vehicle, doesn't do any damage. And all of a sudden, Juicy, in we go. Confirmation on top of the house as well. Which gives him such an elevated line of sight now. I think that's going to be such a difficult spot because while all this is going on, Lauren, Tempo are getting ready for a push. They know they need to clean house here, pick up a good amount of frags and jump up the leaderboard. They're in the back lines, they're looking, they're hunting, they're sniffing it out.
They need to just sweep very meticulously forward because there is a snake in this grass and Meluka might just spot. No, he doesn't. Completely unawares. That could have been a disaster. Really good positioning from your boy Dre to come up and over at the right time. But VSG are responding quickly, and this sort of quick response is deadly for Tempo Storm if they are unaware. But look at this, your boy Dre now starting to wind up here. But where is VSG? Up on top of the hill, and the fire comes down.
There is a response. One down on either side. They will hold the off angle. Sharky trying to get involved with the grenade here. Could do well. What kind of a madman reses in open grounds like this? Maluk, he has to take the corner. He's got an AKM in hand, so he can go up close and personal. If he finds him just over this hill, this will be some breathing room.
Spotted him. He's
Star-Lord's there as well on that plateau. That's the problem as he spots him off the back of the res.
Oh,
the turn, though. That's disgusting.
You needed that first bullet to land. You needed that first bullet accuracy. And he had a second or two to maybe get a couple of cleaner shots in. But it's pressure moments. They don't get those times to consider and think. You just have to depend on your aim. And that time it just wasn't with him, sadly.
Incognito, once again, the circle brings them out from their beautiful one-strong compound. They managed to at least make it into the top 3, so a decent amount of points here for the boys. Mukau just been very aware that there are still players deep in front of them. They're down to 2 of the Rangers. It would be very healthy for them if somehow VSG and Incognito managed to go head-to-head. Then they could get involved with the third party.
It's going to be hard, though, isn't it? They're so central. It feels as though unless these teams swing so far on these rotations, you know, south or north, or go completely around the board, how do they miss that? I'm not sure.
For both of these teams, they won't know how many's up at the top of the hill, right? So they don't just want to push it. I mean, we saw VSG do this yesterday, I think it was. But that's
nade? That nade has really helped.
We just seen it on the map. All of VSG are just running into this.
As soon as that knock came in, they have picked up the pace. They are sweeping forward. They do have the Rangers to get past, who still have 2 players up. So VSG might be reading it the other way around, but they're actually somewhat avoiding Rangers. I don't know if they've heard that now the Rangers know what's coming their way, but can they hold them back? Yes, they can. 2 kills. Hulk goes down. Is there a response from Incognito, or are they still on the revive? It looks like this is the battle. This is the messy one to carry on.
But that's a pretty big nade. Does the damage. There's the third. They've been picked apart left and right. It all comes down to the last player. All his friends in front of him are dying, but he's doing well. There's one.
Where's Incognito? This is time to pounce for Incognito. They've got to know it. VSG are going off as well, or the remainder of, but the scarier team is on the way. They are on the horizon, and here they come. This could be another win for Incognito if they keep this pace up, if they keep that pressure up. There's still 3 teams standing, but VSG and the Rangers are looking so much worse for wear. A revive comes in for VSG. That gives them another opportunity. The nade, just off, can't really help him out. The Rangers still have 1 man up, but look at Incognito sweeping through the hills, trying to find that good angle, that safe angle to peek over the ridge and find those remainders.
The problem is, for the last remaining player on Rangers, he is in a bowl next to a vehicle. Any kind of grenade's going to roll over that thing and just destroy him and end his life.
Look, there's a world in which VSG and Incognito fight and he gets completely missed. There's a world it happens, it's rare.
An alternate reality.
He's going to start hearing steps now.
I see all the bodies,
He's
but
hearing
I don't
the steps.
see the
He's
players.
peeked in. He's got the shot. Mukao's gone down, but where is VSG? You can see the nade. The nade's in hand. He's going to go for the heal. We've got to keep your eyes on the kill feature. How is this man alive? What is he made of? Gonna get the heal up now. VSG still in the back lines. The rest of Incognito know roughly where they are, but this is terrifying, Rich.
I like what Kikamukao's doing. He's giving the information back. He knows the dead man, so...
9 smokes on this man.
And the fact that they got the res off as well to bring him back to a 2-man stack's really impressive. That alternate reality that you were speaking about, Lauren, it's looking more realistic, and that's a scary thought. The blue is the demon to all these players, though. That nade, not quite. It's a flashbang, actually. So you'd have to assume that maybe they're out of frags if they're lobbing things like that. The snakes work their way down the hill.
Okay, so the snake in the grass for Rangers is looking towards Incognito. VSG are on the other side. The smoke wall is getting put up. This is going to be so hard. Line of sight is just minuscule at this point. They know that this Rangers player is still here. Oh, Insight's gone down. This could be devastating. Oh my God. He's only gone and done it. Surely he can't do 2 more. VSG, 2 players remaining, and they only needed 1. What a play from the Rangers, but it will be VSG to claim the win.
Good God. DG98 clutching it up for his team when it mattered most. All right, it wasn't a win. But my word, 4 kills in the bag and solidifying a 2nd place. We said the Rangers were one to watch out for. They needed to get a few more points on the board to jump them a little bit more further up that table. And he clutched it. He absolutely clutched it. VSG, big game from them. A hell of a lot of points, 21-point game. That's just amazing. This is fantastic. This is what we wanted to see from Korean teams. James is going to be really happy.
Certainly will be. I already see the dancing beginning on the desk, but that's not to be seen just yet. I'm sure we're going to have an interview coming up with them, and I can't wait to hear what they say about that one. What a tense way to close that out. I cannot believe that.
I love it. This is the best thing about PUBG. You're never down and out until the game's over. You can just swing around at any moment. I mean, there's times like this where we've seen in the past. I get it. I understand it. You know, it's part of the point system. But people will say, okay, I'll give it up to the blue to deny a point. No, I don't want to see that. Yeah. I want to see you swing a corner. I want to see you pull that 3 versus 1 clutch. I want to see you go massive for your team and jump up the points. That was huge. He took 3 players down from behind a freaking car. Like, come on, boys.
It was
you can't play a passive like that. If you're a 3-man team, you have to peak together. You have to go. You can't go individually, especially not laid down as well. He's like, oh, well, you're going to snake towards me. I
feel bad for Incognito. There's no way they could have come out of that unless they, I don't know. It's so hard. We could sit there and theorize about that final moment over and over, but what we do know is what the Rangers did was incredible, and VSG held on too.
I've just remembered. Yeah. They were the ones who were talking about at the start just behind Tempo Storm. So this now puts it into a very spicy last game. We've seen it in many leagues across where it all comes down to last game. Remember, we do have an elimination finals tomorrow. It's not completely over.
Yeah, it was still okay.
But if you want to go to grand finals directly and skip that, now's the time to do it.
Look, we can start arguing about is it better to play the day before than skip through to the finals. We can discuss that later on. Right now, that top 8 is starting to look a little bit more contested than I expected from some of these teams towards the bottom half of it. I don't know what to expect going to that final game coming up in just a moment's time as well. Obviously, you guys at home, please use the hashtag and let us know. I'm sure the desk will tell you to do it and give us their thoughts as well, but it's just incredible to watch these teams. I can't predict it.
I'm trying to theorize in my head some other things, and I'm looking at these leaderboards now, and it's like, if this is just a group stage, imagine what it's going to be like in the grand finals.
I need a second to think about that, and while we take a second, let's head over to Starlord and Freya down on the stage.
That is exactly right, guys. I am so excited to be here talking to Starlord. So you guys came second in that last game that we just saw. What were you focusing on in this game? Was it the same focus for you guys?
이전 판과 다르게 이번 판에서 더욱더 집중한 점이 있다면 무엇인가요?
사실 이제 제가 좀 많이 못한 점도 있고 좀 제가 기량이 좀 많이 딸린 것 같아가지고 좀 더 팀원들 피드백을 좀 강하게 받아서 그걸 좀 많이 생각하고 게임을 했던 것 같아요.
Because I didn't do that well in the last game, so my teammates gave me a large, strong feedbacks. So I was considering those feedbacks.
And how was it coming up against your fellow Korean rivals in that last circle?
이번 마지막 서클에서 같은 동료라고 할 수 있는 한국 리그의 팀들과 싸우게 되는데 그게 어떤 느낌이었나요?
사실 아무 생각은 없었던 것 같아요. 그냥 있네. 진짜 아무 생각 없었어요.
So basically, I didn't think anything special about it. We're just like, oh yeah, they're there.
Wow,
they are there. Yeah.
That's pretty confident from you guys. What are you going to be doing going forward? Because we have one more game left in today before elimination.
자, 이제 마지막 한 게임만 남았는데 어떤 모습 보여주고 싶은지 말씀해 주세요.
우선 제가 지금 못하고 있는 게 너무 보여가지고 플러스에다가 이제 팀원들한테 지금 나오고 있는 피드백이 되게 많아서 그거 중점으로 고치면서 한번 해보고 싶어요.
So I still think I'm not doing that well, and my teammates are still giving me a strong feedback as well. So I'm trying to fix myself and my play and my style from this match.
Well, Starlord, you won. You did incredibly well. I feel like you guys, you're so humble, but hopefully that will pay off for you coming into one more game today. Now, we're going to head over to the desk where I feel like there's probably a very, very relieved Toffee's there.
Very relieved indeed.
You're not kidding.
He was sweating buckets as Incognito was in that top 3. Arguably could have easily won that match.
If they had pushed at that moment when OP got knocked right there by the car, that I think was 100% their win. Like I literally was thinking, can we go to the shoe store and buy some cheap shoes tonight so I don't have to drink out of
like baby
my
ones.
new ones? Yeah.
You're kind of already untying his shoe, getting ready. Okay, let's go get a beer then and then put it in. No,
I mean he was almost there actually.
There was a time where we were talking about it. It was like this is the time to push. Because you were reading the feed. We could read the feedback, but we could also see we were down to a 1v1 and the other teams, and Incognito had 3 guys alive. That was the time for them to push. They should have kind of just swept aggressively in towards them, and they definitely picked up more points that they did doing what they did here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I mean, but either way, even with the 3rd place finish, even with 5 kill points, this is a big win for Incognito.
Oh,
Huge comeback.
Sure.
We said VSG needs to have a good game. They got 2nd in the last one, 1st on this one. And then, of course, Rangers, who also need to have a good game, come in and get 2nd place. So we talked about the need to push back if you're on the bottom. I think the guys listened, and they are doing it in crazy ways.
Sure. OP Gaming Rangers as well needed a lot of points coming into the situation that we do find ourselves in Avenger here. So for them to be able to get 2nd place, they were in the very middle, and you know they have a little bit of a potentially hard time there as 2 teams were converging on their position.
Well, they were kind of in that position for a long time, and that's also why they ended up being as few members as they were towards the end, and especially there where you saw that circle kind of collide on them, and Temperstorm swept around behind, what team was that? Temperstorm swept behind VSG, okay. And they kind of third-party that. Temperstorm lost that, and if if the Rangers, they moved out there and like kind of repositioned themselves to have an edge instead of having a center, they might have come out on top with more guys alive.
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely, you know, to quote a good friend of ours, caught between a rock and a hard place in terms of those 2 teams pushing. They had a car for cover. I mean, it was rusted. It was on fire. It signified their situation in the game to a T.
Yeah.
And I think they did as well as you could in that situation, getting a couple of extra kills and really, I think, helping VSG come out on top with how they held off Incognito.
Yeah, Rangers really needed this. Like, they were so far down for that. So those 13 points in this game they got from that positioning, that well played, they really need that VSG on top of that as well.
And they controlled tempo really well. I mean, this is a world-class team with 10 kills. They stopped them dead, were able to defend their backs, and then they come up and Incognito just couldn't close the door on them. Huge win for VSG. So proud of these guys. So proud of Korea.
And these highlights, of course, brought to you by one of our title sponsors in NVIDIA. Let's take a look exactly how the points have racked up here as up towards the top. Finally, my boys, with VSG being able to take 21 points there up towards the #1 position. Oh, it's a good day, boys. It's a good day.
They're really getting their momentum started. Second and last game, and now 1st place in this. Hoping to see them continue this. And not to spoil too much, I actually think they're already going to be safe in that top 8, going straight to the grand finals after this amazing performance.
With 21 points on top of what they already had. Yeah, it does look very strong for them. Tempo Storm with the 14 points, though, there are another really good kind of chunk of change for them in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's good on Tempo. I think the thing is that Tempo Storm doesn't want, you never want to be in the situation where you're the next team to fall below 8, right? So put up big numbers, make sure there's always a couple of people on that buffer line. But at this stage, I don't think they have to be worried. It's encouraging to me to see their bounce back, because no matter how they start the final day, it means that bad or good, they're ready to always sort of take the next game.
And with that, let's take a look at the overall leaderboards. 24 points. The padlocks have shifted, to say the least, throughout the day here. NIP and Shoot to Kill up towards the top, breaching that 100-point mark. And unfortunately for some of our padlocks, they have fallen out of the top 8 there, Toffees.
I mean, yes, they have. Sorry for those guys. But the thing is, those guys in the middle column have a good jump start going into the elimination phase, right? The big one for me is teams like Incognito, who've put up such big numbers. They were at the bottom right. They were in 23rd place when we got here today.
Yes.
And look at them now in 13th, man. Look at yourselves, boys. You have put in some serious work.
So one more game. We have Armory Gaming, but there's also 3 more teams behind. Like, so the next teams that we're looking to kind of jump into that is Entis Force, Incognito, Cloud9, or Windstrike, or even maybe Crystal Luster. That's the Force team, and they need to have a massive game. We're talking a win with 10 kills plus to jump into that top 8. So there's 5 teams right now that can have like a massive game to do that kind of leapfrog.
Even if you don't have a massive game, though, let's take a look at the middle column. 58, 57, 55, 54, and then the eliminated teams who won't be able to play, if it stayed like this, are right there, 1 point below them. So get away from 13 through 16 and make sure you start tomorrow strong.
Very important, though, as well, is that when you look at the teams that need a massive game in the next match to try and get into that spot, it feels like our 1 through 7 is almost guaranteed. You're never going to have 2 teams being able to. It's impossible, realistically
Nobody
speaking.
can win 2 chicken dinners in one game.
There you go. Or get like 16 kills in a second place, etc., and then have a 12 kill in a second.
Though we saw something close yesterday.
We were actually close in the Crystal Luster Incognito game. I think they both had 20 plus. But then again, 2 from the 7th place, that's even more. Like we're talking 25 points. So
it was 20 and 24. So yes, and we had the 4 a.m. SDK game. You know, the first day were essentially who was the real winner. That said, you're right though. The 7 can go home right now. They can make a nice cup of tea and relax.
I'm going to concede. Guaranteed the 6th spot is safe.
Absolutely, yes.
Unless something miraculous. No, I'm not even going to do it. All right, gentlemen.
I would say Armory Gaming here, they're sitting, they're watching this next game and they're biting their nails. They just want to stay in because they had such a good game yesterday as well. And I really hope to see them in there.
All right, well, let's head over to the stage now, who is the fantastic Frankie. That's someone I believe from OP Gaming Rangers.
Thank you very much, Kalaris. I've got Korea's Clutch King with me. It's none other than DG98 from OP Gaming Rangers. And first of all, I need to ask, what was going on in your mind when you were clutching out in that final circle?
마지막 그 서클에서 무슨 생각을 하고 계셨는지.
일단 인스를 최대한 다 잡고 VSG가 한 명 더 적은 걸 아니까 인스부터 최대한 잡으려고 생각하고 있었어요.
He tried to catch ins first. That was his main objective. He knew that VSG was 1 person down, so that was his main objective,
And in terms of VSG, I know you're friends with the guys on that team. What's it like to get to kill them in game?
그 BSG 분들이 친구시잖아요. 게임 안에서 죽이는 그 느낌이
아무래도 친구를 죽일 때가 제일 재밌고 다른 팀보다는 한국 팀들 죽이는 게 제일 재밌는 것 같습니다.
He says killing his friend is always, great in game, and killing Korean players is definitely the best part of the game as well. So.
Well, we've got 4 Korean teams here, so watch out, Korea. Your own is coming for you. And now I do need to ask as well, you've been middle of the table so far. What's it going to take for you to take it to the next level?
지금 랭킹이 이제 가운데 정도 되는데 이제 좀 더 올라가시려면 이제 뭘 해야 될지 조치를
팀원과 좀 이렇게 호흡을 조금 더 맞추면서 제가 슈퍼 플레이를 좀 더 하면 되지 않을까.
The team needs to have a little bit more communication, and if he pulls out a few super plays, then it's going to go well for him. Yeah.
Well, after that last round, I have to say I'm expecting a few more super plays from you. Thank you so much, DG98. If you've got something to say about these super plays, then you can let us know using the hashtag #FaceItGlobalSummit. But for now, we need to head back to our super players, the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, and always great to hear from the OP Gaming Rangers as well. Bear in mind, they are in fact the team that actually has quite a bit of lineage when it comes to PUBG. If you think about a player like Esker, who was previously on Genji Gold, Genji Gold, and then this was the team that he moved to, and then obviously like moved on them from there on. And actually, I think he is still in an advisory role with the team themselves, so they have a lot of power even behind them, not only in time but also in support, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Esker was one of the leading roles at PGI, and I think him being in kind of a coach role, even mentality-wise, is going to move forward for them. And also, I think that's one of the reasons that they did so well in their own league.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it comes down to teams have different success scenarios or things that make them great. Some teams, they need coaches that are spiritual leaders. Some need strategists. Some need somebody to just take pictures of the screen and show them, like maybe Jabroni does occasionally.
Go ahead.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it just comes down to what does your team need to make them great? And if it takes Eska coming in once in a while and giving some high fives, maybe it's working.
Maybe. Let's take a look at the X factor of the match as well here from our previous game. I had one in mind, but it might not be that one here. Brought to you by HyperX, of course. What do we have for us to unwrap? Oh, it was this fight down towards the bathroom.
This triggers flashbacks of third-person perspective mode. Being wiped out by a man in a bathroom is literally everyone's worst nightmare, and OMG decides to go ahead and do it just that way. You don't need doors when you've got lead, and they put in some serious work. Shoot to kill, drops.
And the most beautiful thing is this is Xiao Hai. He's one of the main fraggers, top fraggers from OBG back from PGI in 2018 in Berlin. So happy to see him kind of step up. Looking forward to see if they can keep this up, because they've been having some rough times going into this. So I think this is kind of the momentum going into the last game. So I hope they can kind of finish on a high note going into the sudden death tomorrow, because they are 100% going to be there.
The group stage here as a whole feels like there's only kind of positives to take away from it. It's a really nice feeling, and it's not a format that I'm familiar with, because normally group stage is done. Bye-bye, go home, get out of here. But at least you've got that elimination stage to try and kind of ride the highs off from where you get here, be it bagging a few points. Again, Incognito is the best example, right? When they came in to today especially, not much there. Now, they have a legitimate shot in elimination stage to potentially even go all the way.
I think we've seen this with teams before. A large portion of success in PUBG comes from attitude and sort of mentality. And do you feel like you can win the fight? Hesitancy causes death. So when you've got that just go ahead, you do well. Incognito, I think, hesitated the first day they were here. Small regions often come in, or smaller regions, I should say, come in with this mentality of, well, we're playing with the big guys now. They've watched everything Liquid's ever done, and they sort of look up to them as players. And then they get a couple of kills on them. They take a game, and they go, wait a minute, maybe these guys aren't the gods that we thought they were. They bleed like us. And once they see that, they know that they can reach into the heavens and pull them down.
Definitely on top of that, I really think that they've been really good today at staying together as a unit, moving as a unit, like we've seen Shoot to Kill do so well. And I think it's been very beneficial for them. 48 points today compared to the 10 points on day one. A massive difference.
All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Time to go to a short break here now for the FACEIT Global Summit. When we return, we have one more game left on Erangel here to find out who is going to be guaranteed themselves that grand final spot and who is going to be going to sudden death, the elimination stage, as Toffee drops his pen. See you in a second.